Introduce Dr. Michael Gottfried. Mike is an emeritus professor, and he has hosted two previous trips to Iceland before, and he's well versed in the island. And so he's here to give you a few tips and information that might be helpful for you before you depart on this tour. So take it away, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Regina. Hi, everybody. Hopefully you can all hear me okay. Please indicate somehow if for some reason you cannot. I hope everybody's excited about going. I certainly am, and I've been to Iceland quite a number of times. Regina mentioned I've done two previous alumni trips for MSU alums. I've done a departmental alumni trip for my department, and I've done probably about 10 study abroad programs with students. I started and led an Iceland study abroad program for 10 plus years. So I love the place, and obviously I'm happy to go back. And a few things I'll mention, and please, if you have questions, feel free at some point to let me know. The first question that comes up is what to expect in terms of weather. You can expect a diversity of potential weather while you're there. I looked at the forecast, which can be a little bit misleading for Iceland because you often see a forecast, and basically the forecast shows over the next couple of weeks temperatures in the 50s with rain now and then. The thing to keep in mind is it can change really quickly. A bigger factor than sometimes in the temperature and whether it's raining is how windy it is. If it's just a little light rain and it's not windy, it's really not so bad to do things in Iceland. The wind is probably the biggest factor. So the first recommendation I would make, and I think many of you are seasoned travelers and probably already have this in mind, is bring a set of waterproof gear, and it should go head to toe. So not only a jacket, but also rain pants of some kind. And I would think that you'd be better off with some that are a little bit roomy, so you can put some layers underneath them. And layers, base layers, probably the best materials are either silk or merino wool, which are comfortable. You wouldn't feel too hot. Obviously, if it's in the 50s, you may not need many layers. But again, you get out on the water on a smaller boat and the wind picks up, and it can feel a lot colder than 50 or 55 degrees that shows as the temperature. And I'd also suggest wool socks. Merino is really best because if they get wet, they'll retain some warmth. For footwear, again, waterproof is nice. Something not too heavyweight because you're not going to be carrying huge, heavy backpacks around, just day packs. So you don't need like full-on backpacking boots like you'd be taking up into the mountains, tent camping for a week. But something waterproof is a good idea, and with a decent tread, you'll probably be getting into some mud. So you'll find that it's probably not the case you're going to be able to keep them spotlessly clean for the time that you're there, and also it's a good idea, obviously, to have something to change into on the ship. Umbrellas usually aren't a whole lot of use, typically because of the wind. So you can have an umbrella that might only last you for a couple of minutes before it gets kind of turned inside out if it's a windy day, which it often is there. If you're a keen photographer and you use a real camera as opposed to a cell phone camera, and cell phone cameras are great now, but if you have a regular camera, try to bring some extra batteries because if it's cold, battery life is shorter than it is in just warm, dry weather. So if you take a lot of pictures, and Iceland is fantastically scenic, so again, if you're a keen photographer, you probably will take a lot of pictures because the scenery is spectacular. So extra batteries are a good idea, and something waterproof that you can slip your camera into, like a little waterproof dry bag or even a heavy plastic bag or something, so you can keep it from getting wet if you're out in the weather. Hats, sunglasses, also obviously good. If it's not raining and cloudy and we're around the glaciers, and it can get pretty bright and pretty glary. And also, of course, out on the ocean, it can be bright and glary. So a good pair of sunglasses, obviously a good thing to have. Binoculars. Hopefully there are some people interested in birds. My spouse, Pam Rasmussen, Dr. Rasmussen is also going to be with us on the ship, and Pam is an ornithologist and a very keen birder as well. So if there are any of you who are really into birds, you'll want to find Pam and hang out with her, and I'm sure she'd be happy to point out some of the bird life. Iceland in summer is one of the most important seabird nesting sites in the Northern Hemisphere. So there will be abundant bird life, including puffins, really everybody's favorite, and many other seabirds and aquatic birds. We'll also have a chance to see some whales. We should have a good chance to see humpback and minke whales, which are smaller filter feeding whales. And there are some large dolphins called short-beaked dolphins. And some of the places we're going, they're pretty common. We have a pretty good chance of seeing them. Let's see what else I wanted to bring up. What else should people be aware of? Well, maybe I should open it up for questions and see if any of you folks have any specific or general questions on that I can help with. So please fire away if you do.
Mike, I emailed you about currency when we stop on excursions. Credit cards, do they take American cash? Do we need to get their currency? How does that work?
It'd be a good idea to get the Icelandic currency. It's called the kroner.
Okay.
And it's very easy to get in ATMs at the airport and in Reykjavik City. It's not a bad idea to have some, but most places will take credit cards. But if you're in one of the small towns and you don't want to buy something at a little gift shop, a little bit of cash is probably not a bad idea. If you want to get a coffee, if you want to get something, not a big expensive item, I always like to have some currency. On the ship, the ship, as far as I know, I don't think the ship would take Icelandic currency to pay for things, but I'm not certain. That's a good question for the Go Next representative who will be on later. I think that I don't know. Regina might know what currency the ship operates with, other than obviously credit cards.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, my power went out for a second, so I lost everything.
No.
Yeah, typically the ships do have local currency, but it's not always guaranteed. So, it's if it's possible, once you get to shore, you could maybe go to a money machine. And I don't recall when I was there how I handled that. I don't remember, but I wasn't on a ship at that time, so.
Yeah, I would say, to be on the safe side, get some kroner at Keflavik at the airport when you arrive. In the arrivals area, there will be ATMs, both close to where you pick up your luggage, and then when you get out into the arrivals area, there will be ATMs scattered around. So
what I usually do. Yeah, that's what I usually do when I travel to other countries. It's just
yeah,
easy.
yeah. And again, it's if you just want to buy a coffee or some little small item, sometimes it's less trouble to have some currency than to take out and use your credit card. So I probably will get, I don't know, $200 or $300 worth of kroner. I try and remember what the exchange rate is. Exchange rate is roughly 1,000 kroner is roughly $10, but that's a very rough approximation. I haven't checked it lately. Yes, other questions, anyone? Thanks, Linda. Did you send me? You said you sent me an email?
I did send you an email. Yeah.
I don't think I got it unless it was just very recent.
A couple days ago.
Ah, okay. Well, it seems to have gotten lost somewhere because I don't remember seeing it. But in any case,
well,
yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure. Anybody else have questions?
Mike, I don't know. Okay, go ahead.
I just checked, and 1,000 kroner is $7.98.
Okay. So the kroner may be a little bit different than the last time I was there, but yeah, that sounds about right. Okay.
Mike, I don't know, while I was gone for a couple minutes, did you mention any of the sites that are nice, those you'll be able to see while you're at the ports of call at all? Or
Yeah, I can go down a list of what I think are, from I've been to all the places that are on the list except the Faroe Islands, which I'm really excited about because I've always wanted to go there, and it's great that this cruise takes a couple of days to go over to the Faroes, which I've never been to. But I'll go down and just make a few comments on the different stops on the itinerary if you'd like. And these are not exclusive. I mean, this is not the exhaustive list, so there are plenty of places, but these are some of the places that you can visit easily. Either some of them might be on an excursion, or some of them you could get to independently if you're at a port where you're not on an excursion and you just want to kind of walk around the area where the ship will be docked. So our first stop is Grundarfjörður. Really nice opportunity on that day to see puffins. For those of you, there's a shortish trip on a smaller boat to a place called Melraki Island, which has a nice puffin colony on it. That's worthwhile. The most famous site there is a mountain called Kirkjufell, which is located next to some really scenic waterfalls. And that mountain, for those, any of you who are Harry Potter fans, that mountain is often called the Sorting Hat Mountain because the shape of the mountain looks like the sorting hat in the Harry Potter movies. But really scenic, and it's one of the most photographed sites in Iceland. The next stop is Ísafjörður, which is further around to the northwest, in an area of Iceland called the West Fjords, basically the northwestern corner of the island. Very nice maritime museum there, the West Fjords Heritage Center, particularly good for the history of fishing in Iceland, which is up until just over 10 years ago, fishing was the number one sector in their economy. It's now tourism for the last decade plus, kind of an interesting switch. Then we will continue around along the north of Iceland to Iceland's second largest city called Akureyri. And if you're not going on one of the excursions there, Akureyri has a beautiful botanical garden that's really worth having a look around, and with some beautiful views over the countryside. There is one longer excursion that I know a number of you are going on, and I know Pam and I are going to be on, called Jewels of the North. And it hits some of the highlights going into the interior from Akureyri, which is on the coast. It visits, I guess if you force me to vote, what I think is the most beautiful waterfall I've seen in Iceland, called Godafoss, which is the waterfall of the gods. Foss in Icelandic means waterfall, so you see that on a lot of names. There are a lot of waterfalls in Iceland everywhere we'll go. It goes to a really fantastic set of sort of lava castles, these really intricate sculpted lava deposits called Dimmuborgir. And it will go to a very nice geothermal area called Namaskart, with some really colorful bubbling mud pots and colorful kind of geochemically stained areas from the geothermal activity. The cruise then continues around to the east side of Iceland in what I think of as, again, from the places I've been, maybe the prettiest setting for a town in Iceland, a beautiful spot called Seyðisfjörður. It's a small town at the head of a long fjord, so you'll get hopefully the ship will be going during daylight hours. We will have a lot of daylight because of the time of year. It goes down a long fjord, and the town is at the head of the fjord. Some of you I know, and I think many of you in the group are going on a tour, an excursion to Skalanes Nature Reserve, which is very good for birds. It's also one of the better places in Iceland to look for Arctic fox. Iceland only has one native land mammal, the Arctic fox, a small fox that reached Iceland during the ice ages when the ice was continuous enough for it to reach the island. Beautiful little foxes, and you may see them running around. There's also in town, it's a very scenic little town. There's a famous small church, but very pretty church called the Blue Church, or just the church in the middle of town. And that area also, some of the tours I think are going to visit some of the archaeological digs. There's some early record of early settlement in Iceland in some of the area around Seyðisfjörður. Then the trip continues down the east side of Iceland, which is the quieter side because it's the furthest distance from Reykjavik. And basically, the further you get from Reykjavik, generally the fewer people are there because it's just most people drive in Iceland, and it takes a few days to drive from Reykjavik all the way to the East Coast, or at least a couple of days. So we'll be in another very pretty coastal town called Djúpivogur. One of the things there that I know that people enjoy seeing are a series of much larger than life-size bird eggs, basically, or carved out of granite, but they're much larger than life size. And there's a whole series of them along a walkway that goes through town. Another area with beautiful waterfalls and rugged mountains, typical Icelandic East Coast scenery. We have a day at sea, a full day at sea then. We'll be, I'm sorry, we then go from Djúpivogur to the Faroes, pardon me. Faroes, again, are new to me and very excited, again, to have a chance to go there and see them. I've always wanted to go, and with the student group, it was just added too much time and money onto the program to bring them over there. More opportunities for nesting seabirds, large, extensive sea cliffs with seabird colonies, more beautiful waterfalls and rugged scenery. And interesting culturally, the Faroes are really independent. They're certainly associated with Denmark, but they're essentially in small independent entity unto themselves, and should be quite an interesting stop. The weather there is kind of notoriously not great, so we'll hope, fingers crossed, that we get some clear enough weather to get out and see it. Then we have the day at sea, going back toward Iceland. Always keep an eye out for marine life. Those waters, again, are biologically pretty productive and rich. So minke whales, humpbacks, orcas, or killer whales are also possible. And more ocean seabirds are certainly, we will certainly see them. So the best way, obviously, to have a chance to see them, if the conditions are nice and not too nasty, is to be out on deck, hopefully with binoculars, just scanning around. And I will be out, and Pam will be out a good part of the time. So look for us out on deck, and we're happy to point things out as we see them. Then we go for the final stop on the cruise to Heimaey, which is actually a series of islands. Heimaey is the largest, called the Westman Islands, or the Vestmannaeyjar, off the southern coast of Iceland. Heimaey is particularly famous for the 1973 eruption that buried part of the town. And it's sometimes referred to as the Pompeii of the North, because there are parts of the town where they've left the buildings partially encased in lava. The lava flowed down into the town. It didn't completely cover the town. They actually got hoses from the harbor and sprayed the lava to try to cool it and slow it from flowing onto the town. But it did cover some of the buildings, and they've left that as kind of a monument or evidence of this eruption in 1973. Also, another important puffin nesting site. It's Heimaey has the largest number of nesting puffins in the North Atlantic. And there's a museum there, which I would recommend, called the Eldheimer Museum. It's basically, they've covered some of the buildings that were under, or at least partially covered by lava, to preserve the way they looked right after the eruption in 1973, along with some of the artifacts and some of the things that were affected by the eruption. Also, another really nice outing to do there, some of you may be on, there's a smaller boat that does a circumnavigation of Heimaey, which I was on an earlier trip several years ago, and that's well worth doing if you're signed up for it. I think you'll enjoy it. If you're not signed up for something the day that we're at Heimaey, that's one that I think would be worthwhile if the weather's halfway decent. And then from there we go back to Reykjavik. So that's a quick quick synopsis and summary of some of the things that you can expect to see. And there's a long list of things I haven't mentioned, but those are places that I've seen on previous trips that I think are particularly interesting and worthwhile to see. And I know based on the list I've seen of who's going to be on which excursions that many of you will be visiting those sites. So I think I'll probably stop there and again see if anyone has any questions.
Anyone have questions?
Yeah, please fire away if you do.
I have another one. So I'm coming in ahead of time, of course, but I'm not doing the tour. I'm just staying in the hotel. And Regina mentioned that you might have some ideas since I get there at 9:30 in the morning of what to do when you're in Reykjavik.
Do you have a full day in Reykjavik or just the
Yeah.
first part of the day?
No, I get there at 9:30 in the morning and spending the night.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, good. Well, not knowing exactly your interests, I can, a few things to do. There is a small museum called Reykjavik 871 plus or minus 2, which is a date, and it's right in the middle of the town center, and anyone there would know how to find it. And it's the preserved foundations of a Viking longhouse that are below the level of the city streets, and they have an exhibit around it. And it'll give you a feeling for the early Viking settlement history. That's worth doing. If you're really into, additional chances to see whales, there are several outfits that run whale watching trips from the old harbor in Reykjavik. The old harbor is different than the area that the cruise ship will leave from. There's a cruise terminal that's outside the town center. But there's what they call the old harbor, and you'll see some fishing boats and fishing trawlers there. And they have 3 or 4 different companies that run whale watching trips in the, out for probably 2 or 3 hours outside of Reykjavik. There's the National Museum of Iceland, which is a beautiful museum close to the town center that is a more, a broader view of Icelandic history, a lot of interesting artifacts and again, the early Viking history and the history of Iceland since then. That's a sort of more of at least 2 to maybe 3 hours worth of museum to visit. The settlement museum under the city street is something you could easily see in, an hour or so, or maybe even a little bit less. Where else? If you're into shopping, there are there's shopping at a Scandinavian price scale for so you won't find too much in the way of bargains, but there's a main street called Laugavegur that goes through more or less the town center that has a lot of nice shops. And if you need anything for the trip that you forgot, especially outdoor kind of gear, you can find things there like socks and merino wool, base layers, and that kind of thing. There are a number of outdoor shops. There's a company called 66 North, and there's another company called Iceware, and their stuff is expensive, but it's high quality Icelandic wool. So if you need a sweater, a base layer, a pair of warm gloves or something, you'd certainly be able to find them there. As far as places to eat, there are a lot of nice restaurants. My favorite place to eat is a pretty informal place, but I really like it, called Ramen Momo, like ramen, like the noodle soup, Momo, M-O-M-O. And it's a little shop near the waterfront, near the old harbor. A tiny place with about enough seating for maybe 7 or 8 people. The ramen is fantastic. They make their own noodles there and their own broth and everything. And that's my go-to stop, especially if it's cold. That's my go-to stop for some really good hot food in the middle of Reykjavik. But there are plenty of restaurants that have, upscale seafood, particularly. Trying to think of they're clustered around the town center. There's one, if you want a sort of a fancier, more upscale, really nice meal, there's a place called Apotek. It's Apotek. It's like apothecary, but the Icelandic version called apotek, and that's really nice. I've had a couple of really nice meals there.
Saw that on YouTube.
What's that?
I saw that on YouTube.
Yeah, apotek is good. It's not a bargain like a lot of things in Iceland, but if you want a really nice meal at night, that's a good place to go. You probably need to book it, like at least earlier in the day. I think it's pretty popular at night. Icelanders like going out for meals. And that this time of year, you'll have not quite 24 hours of daylight, but you'll have a lot of daylight. So there's a pretty active, if the weather's nice, kind of outdoor cafe culture in Reykjavik. You'll see a lot of places will have tables outside if the weather's halfway decent. Even if it's not, Icelanders are pretty hardy. They'll sit out in bad weather just to be able to sit outside in like reasonably bad weather. So yeah, just walking around town is interesting. Walking around the waterfront is interesting. There's a maritime museum in Reykjavik, and again, in more or less the center of town, along the harbor, if you're interested in the history of the maritime industries. And there's a good account there of the Cod Wars, which are they had a conflict between Iceland and Great Britain back a few decades ago over who had the fishing rights to the waters around Iceland that involved some minor ship collisions and skirmishing between Icelandic fishing patrol vessels and British fishing trawlers. And they have some of that history is gone through in that museum. If that's the kind of thing that might interest you, that's worth a stop. There's a place what's it called? The Lava Center or the Lava Museum, or I think it's just called the Lava Center. And they
Yeah.
basically produce lava live in front of you, and they show you sort of the properties of lava while it's still molten and play around with it and put on a show. And that's kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah, it is fun. I had the opportunity to visit there as well. There's another place called Fly Over Iceland. It's kind of like an IMAX theater type presentation, and it's like on a mega screen, and that was pretty fun too.
Yeah.
So
And one other place, and this is probably now 3 or 4 days worth of stuff to do. So Linda, you can pick what sounds best to you. There's a place called the Perland Center. It's a big domed building on a hill over the city. It's not right in the city. It's a little bit outside the city. And they have several different exhibit areas there. They have usually some video and movie presentations on different volcanic eruptions in recent Icelandic history. They have a program on the Northern Lights, and they have a recreated, it's not a real one, obviously, but they have a recreated glacier that you can walk through to show you glacial features. And that's, a popular thing for tours to visit
Would
as
you
well.
spell that? Would you spell it?
Yeah, it's the Perland Center. It's Perlan, Perlan.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's plenty to do. If you're, game to try it, the bus system's pretty good. Taxis, of course, are, they're going to be at Icelandic prices. Some of the sites, if you're staying in a hotel that's in the city center, you can walk to. Reykjavik Central, the town center area of Reykjavik is not all that big, and it's an easy place to walk from point to point. Perland's a little bit far to walk, maybe.
does anyone else have questions at all?
I have a follow-up question on the bus station. I understand that's where the rental cars are located, and we're planning to stay an extra day and rent a car per day. Is it walkable from the cruise to the bus station, or does that need to be a taxi?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all of what you said. I lost a couple of words there. Could you just repeat the question?
I was wondering how you get from the cruise port to the bus station in Reykjavik. Is that walkable, or do you need to, is it a taxi?
I think it's I haven't been to that cruise terminal. The other time I did a ship-based alumni cruise, it was a smaller ship and it left from the harbor and the old harbor in the town center. So It's at least a few kilometers from the bus station. I think you're going to be looking at a taxi. I mean, it would be quite a hike. Is it the BIS bus station you're talking about? There's the big central bus station that you can get out to the airport.
And the central bus station is where the rental cars companies are located, I believe. And so that's where I would
Some,
need to go.
yeah, some of them, but the the rental car situation. There's some of them in Reykjavik City, and there's some of them are out at Keflavik at the airport, or within a few kilometers of the airport. So depending where you're renting it from. But yeah, the bus station is the BSI bus station, and that's where you get the shuttle bus between the city and Keflavik Airport. And I would fully expect there'd be rental car companies there. I'm not sure. Do you remember which company it is?
It's national, and it is right there at that same central bus station that you
Oh, okay.
described.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to take a taxi unless you can ask and see if there's a city bus that goes from the cruise terminal. There may well be a city bus that goes from the cruise terminal to that bus station, but I don't know the details on that. Taxi would probably be the easiest thing because you're not going to have to spend the time trying to figure out what bus might go there. The city buses in Iceland are nice, and they're once you're used to them, there's nothing like, intimidating or anything about taking them. It's just figuring out which one goes where. The drivers are usually quite helpful. And the other thing in Iceland, which I should have mentioned up front, is that virtually any Icelander that you meet will speak fluent English. English is a second language there, and occasionally you might meet someone fairly elderly out in a small village in the country whose English is a little bit, not quite fluent, but essentially people you meet there, their English is going to be absolutely easy to understand, and they will understand you. So, and they're quite friendly and quite helpful with things like that. So. But I don't know the details on that cruise terminal about how they operate. That's a good question for the Go Next people because I haven't been in and out of that cruise terminal.
Yes, I do recommend you give Go Next a call. They could probably answer that question for you. Do we have any other questions for Mike?
Yeah, just Jim or James, you just asked the question. Do you have an itinerary for where you're going to go with your additional time there, or do you have a pretty good idea of where you're thinking of going?
We're planning to rent a car the day that we get off the cruise ship and then drive the Golden Circle
Oh, okay, yeah.
and end up at the airport.
Yeah, that's a good plan. Yeah. Yeah. Expect plenty of people. And, coach tours, that's the Golden Circle is the classic 1 day cycle of stops that you can do easily in a day around Reykjavik. So it'll be crowded in the middle of the summer, but really worth seeing.
Any other questions? If not, we now have Emily Dean from Go Next that has joined the meeting, and she is a client service manager at Go Next. I've worked with her for a number of years now, and she's wonderful. And so, Emily, go ahead and take it away.
Perfect. Thank you. I was actually trying to Google your question with the car rentals because I don't know the answer to that. But I was trying to Google it, so I'll look at that afterwards. But welcome everybody, and thanks for joining us today. I'm going to talk about the documents you guys received. Final documents went out June 23rd for this trip. So if you haven't received them, please reach out. There might be something holding up your booking. They would have come from Go Next that said final documents, Icelandic Revelation, and then with your name in it. There is a few attachments in the final documents. The first one would be general information. The general information is talking about visas and which you don't need, and then passports, pre-cruise travel, transfers, which I will talk about transfers a little bit later, and then it'll talk about your program managers. Your program managers for this trip are Maria and Anna. Both have been with GoNext for a while now, so you guys are in good hands. Maria has actually done, we have a few different conference cruises. We do Big Ten, SEC, and some other ones. So she is usually our go-to program manager for these conference cruises. So she's well aware how everything will go. So in the general information page, the very first page is an emergency phone number. This phone number you want to write down, take a picture of, put it in your cell phone. It is for the day of travel. It's the front page and it's the phone number with the red that says emergency. It's 612-802-5560. So this is for heading over if your flight's delayed, if there's any changes in your flight, looking for your transfer, you will contact this phone number. It is a cell phone number, so if somebody doesn't answer right away, feel free to leave them a voicemail and they'll give you a call back. If you are already at the airport and Delta's like, oh, hey, your flight number is now 927 and you're arriving at this time, you can feel free to send it a text message also. And then they'll just respond. Just make sure you give them all the information, so they know, what day you're coming in on, because some people are coming in earlier than others. We just like to make sure that we know, what day you guys are arriving. The next attachment in your final documents is the final cruise summary. A lot of good information in this. So if you have a printer, bring it with, or take screenshots of it. It's the port address. If you guys are coming in on your own to taxi there, it'll tell you your transfers, your amenities that are included in this trip. If you booked flights with Oceania, they'll be listed on there. The cruise ports that you guys are going into each day, along with the arrival and departure times. And then your shore excursions that are confirmed and dining will also be on there. So a lot of good information on that piece. And then there could be a third document. So if you're on our Go Next pre-cruise, there would be an attachment in there for the pre-cruise information. It lays it out a little more what you guys will be doing on the pre-cruise. And once you arrive there, the program managers will be there on site and they'll give you a better breakdown. Like breakfast will be served the next morning from 7 to 9. And then this is just a guess. I'm not sure what it is, but they'll be served from 7 to 9. Then you guys will get on the bus and she'll give you a little bit more of a breakdown of what you guys are doing. Or if you have any questions, they'll be there when you check in. And we usually have a couple people from the city. So if you guys are coming in and want to explore, they can help you point you in the right direction to where you need to go. So those are the final documents. Now talking about a little bit of packing. People ask me what to pack. I did look at the weather. It's could be anywhere from mid 50s to high 50s. It just really depends. I would look at the weather. You could probably actually look now. We're pretty close to departure, to see what the weather is going to be like. I highly suggest dressing in layers. The mornings probably will be cool. And then, as you go through the day, depending on what you're doing, you might get warmer. So a jacket. I didn't actually look to see if there was any rain in the forecast, so maybe pack a little portable, yes, okay, a little portable umbrella, just to put in your backpack when you guys are exploring.
Emily, not to interrupt, it's Iceland.
Yeah.
There's always rain in the forecast.
Is there? Okay, so it's like Seattle. Okay.
It doesn't mean it actually will rain, but there's always rain in the forecast.
Okay.
You will not almost never see a day in Iceland where there's no chance of rain listed in a forecast at a time. But anyway, not to scare anyone, but rain is always potentially a possibility.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Another thing with packing, if you yeah.
I watched a YouTube yesterday. There's a couple of good YouTubes on what to pack.
Yeah.
People that have been there. There's some really good suggestions. I actually changed my packing list after watching one of them.
Oh, really? Yeah, because there are a few areas in the world, right, that you probably need certain things, and this could be one of them, right? Yeah. So I might have to look at that YouTube.
Hey,
I'm writing it down
Linda.
here.
Yeah.
Linda, can you share those links with me and I'll forward them on to the whole group.
Yeah, there's
perfect.
3 different ones. And one young lady I really enjoyed. She was there recently and she goes, when I go next year, this is what I'm going to bring that I didn't bring. And I thought it was very helpful. And it rains every day. And like Mike said, and she also said people are concerned about the rain, but it's the Arctic wind. Be sure you have a tire that can break the wind.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you. Another thing is if you guys are bringing, I don't know how many suitcases you pack, but I know if I'm traveling with my family, I always put a little in one and then some in the other. This way, if one of your pieces of luggage is delayed, you would have something in your other set of luggage. And if you are so lucky to only carry one suitcase, you can pack well. I put a little in my carry-on. So I pack an extra outfit. So if I'm traveling in an outfit, I would maybe pack, I don't know, just for me, a black dress or not a dress, just something comfortable to wear that I could go casual or I could wear to grand dining if I needed to, along with a pair of shoes. I always like to bring a pair of tennis shoes, two different ones. So if I need to, I'll pack one in my carry-on. Another thing for the carry-on is prescription medication. TSA does require it to be in the original pill bottle. With that being said, I've never had anybody stopped. However, they do require it to be in the original pill bottle. So if it's in your suitcase, they're not going to do anything. But if it's in your carry-on, they could check it. So I always just suggest that people get a printout from your doctor just to know what medications you're on in case you need to get something filled over there at a pharmacy. Otherwise, keep it in the original pill bottle for sure. If you need those pills, if it's a needed pill, keep it in your carry-on just in case your luggage were to be delayed. A few people to contact before you guys leave: cell phone providers. Check to make sure you have an international service. You might not think you need it, but you just never know when there could be an emergency. So usually with cell phone providers, you can add it just for the length of stay that you're gone. I always suggest even doing it one day later, just in case there is some kind of flight delay. So check with cell phone providers. Also check with your credit cards and your banks. Let them know where you guys are going to be traveling to. Some people need to know exactly what countries. Some people just know dates. So just reach out to them. It's another place that I would extend it one day just in case there was any delay in your travel. Now, for everybody, no matter what you're doing, if you're going in for the pre-cruise or if you're going in for the cruise or if you guys are going in on your own, this next step is for the transfers. Everybody is going to kind of do the same thing, just going to look for different items. So you're going to get to the desk, you're going to get to Iceland, then you're going to go through passport control, you're going to collect your luggage and go through customs. After this, everybody's going to exit the baggage claim and you're going to look for different people. So if you are on the Go Next pre-cruise, going to the hotel, you're going to look for a Go Next sign. We will be holding a sign that's fluorescent in color, like pink, yellow, orange, something fluorescent, and it says Go Next on it. So look for our drivers. We will be in mini sprinters or sedan cars, depending on how many people are coming in on your same arrival. So we will be there with the fluorescent signs. Now, if you're coming in on embarkation day and you're taking an Oceania transfer, you're going to look for an Oceania representative. They will also be outside a baggage claim and have a sign. Their sign is white with a big blue circle. So look for them if you're coming in on an Oceania transfer. And theirs is a little different. They operate in motor coaches. So theirs is kind of like a hotel shuttle. It comes in intervals. So they'll do a pickup, then they'll drive back. And they have a couple different buses that do this. So if you think you've waited too long, I say at least give it 15 minutes. But if you think you've waited too long, that emergency number that I went over with you, go ahead and give them a call. And then they send a call out to dispatch because maybe there's an accident or just traffic or something that's holding them up and that they're on their way. And then they'll let you know. And now if you are coming in on your own and doing your own thing, you're going to do the same thing. You are going to exit baggage claim and you're going to look for signs that say ground transfers. And usually it'll point you at, like for car rentals or Ubers or taxis, and you guys will make your way to find a taxi and then take it to wherever you guys are going. And then the day of embarkation, like I said, the address for the ship is on your final document. So if you need to give the Uber or the taxi guy that address, it's on those documents.
Can I add one thing, Emily?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Another way to get from the airport to Reykjavik is what they call the fly bus. And you'll see when you get into the arrivals area, after you've gone through customs and collected your luggage and you get into the arrivals area at Keflavik at the airport, you'll see a obvious booth that says fly bus. And it's basically a shuttle bus to take you to the city, which would be quite a bit less expensive than a taxi. A taxi from Keflavik to Reykjavik is about $150, give or take, probably. Fly bus is about $35 or $40. And
Okay.
you can take the Flybus enhanced service that will drop you at a hotel. They take you on a big bus into the city, then they put you on a smaller bus to a hotel if you're staying overnight for a few dollars extra, or you can just take it to the central bus station in Reykjavik, from where it would be a much shorter and less expensive taxi ride to wherever in Reykjavik or you want to go, or to the cruise terminal. So that is, and it's a very reliable service. It takes about 45 or 50 minutes from the airport into the city. And they leave frequently. They go basically constantly from the airport. As soon as they fill a bus, they leave, and they're going on a constant cycle.
Okay. That another thing I didn't know. I feel like you should be on all my calls. I
No
love it.
problem.
I love it. Um, okay, so now you guys are going to be transferred to the ship, and you guys are going to check your luggage in with the porter. They will then take it to a holding area for when your room is ready. Your room might not be quite ready when you guys embark the ship. You guys are feel free to explore, go have lunch in the Terrace Cafe, and then once your cabins are ready, they'll give you a call. When you're checking in Pierside, Oceana is going to issue you a world card. This world card gets you on and off the ship, gets you into your room, and it's like your credit card for on board. So if you buy anything at a boutique, or if you buy a bottle of wine or go to the spa, they're going to use this card. It's like your credit card. Oceana is a cashless cruise line, so this is what you're going to use for everything. I did look at, so the currency over there is the krona. You guys, I would say you do not need to take, well, maybe Mike knows, but you don't, I never tell people to take out currency until you get over there, because 95% of the world takes credit cards. So depending on what you're doing, if you want to tip like the tour guides on your shore excursions, that might be different. Or if there's a small mom and pop place or a small food place, you're probably going to need cash. But if you want to take it out beforehand, you can check to see with your local banks to see what the conversion is and to see how much they would charge. Not every bank specializes in every currency. So, yep, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, just another thing. Icelanders will not expect to be tipped.
Oh,
The people on the ship, that's a different situation, but restaurants, cafes, and things like that in Iceland, they will not expect to be tipped. It's not culturally something that people expect there.
okay. Okay. I just feel like and maybe, and I do know that or not Minnesota's US people, we are over tippers, right? So I know that is like a thing for us,
Yeah.
like when I've been to Europe and stuff. So that's good to know too. Yeah.
They won't turn it down necessarily
Right. Right.
for something really special or really excellent service. They're not going to resent it or be upset about it, but it's not something.
Yeah.
It's not an expectation at a restaurant or for people helping you with bags at a hotel or something like that. It's not something they expect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so then now once you guys get on board the ship, like I said, your luggage will go with the porters. If you are able to get into your room right away and your luggage isn't there, don't panic. If you brought your luggage to the ship and checked it in, it will get there. They have a lot of luggage to deliver, so it will be there before you guys set sail. Let's see here. If you are not on the pre-cruise and you want to stop by when you get on board the ship and meet the program managers, they'll be there on deck 5. I'm sorry, deck 4 for this ship. They'll be there so you guys can get name badges, lanyards. If you're on the pre-cruise, you'll receive this information or your lanyards there. If you get on board the ship and you're just like, I'm too tired, I don't want to stop right now. I just want to get to my room and relax. That very first night, we're going to have a Go Next reception, and anybody who has not received their name badges and lanyards, we will bring them to the reception for you guys to get. Now, once you guys are in your cabins, each stateroom for electricity has two 110 volts and two 220s and a USB-C. So with that, if you guys are coming in before or after the cruise, if depending on what you're bringing or what you need, you might need an adapter to plug in items, depending on what you guys are bringing. Oceana does have hair dryers in the room, so if that's all you need to do your hair, you are set. They also have robes, slippers, They also have a large umbrella in there. And I mean, you could bring it out on shore excursions with you. It's just really large. It's like a golf umbrella. They also have water bottles in the cabins. If you've been on a cruise before, when you get off for a shore excursion, they used to hand out plastic water bottles for everybody to take on their shore excursions. Now they have bottles that you can keep, and they're in your room, and they will fill a watercraft throughout the day. And they also have filling stations on board the ship, so you guys can fill up your water bottles. So before you leave for a shore excursion, make sure you fill that water bottle up. Otherwise, you can bring your own water bottles. Everybody might have their own preference, but just so you know, that's how they do the water for the shore excursions. Also in your cabins are TVs. On these TVs, it's more than a TV these days. Your invoice will be on there. So anything you charge to that world card will show up on your invoice. I suggest looking at your invoice at least every other day. Just make sure that everything is yours and nothing is not yours. If something is not yours, go down to reception, just let them know. My tip for this is don't wait till the last night. The last night, the reception desk is very busy. So if you want to just enjoy your last night and not stand in line, if you see something, go down and do it right away. For this ship, everything's real nice, like in one central area. So our Go Next desk, a concierge desk, the reception desk, and the shore excursion desk is all on deck four. And the grand staircase is in the middle, and then everything is right there. So, and if you don't know where to go, the program managers can tell you where to go if they can help you with something. They usually can help with a lot, and if they can't, then they'll get you to the right spot. For your cabins, internet is provided. It has, so you have two logins per stateroom. So if you, two people in the room and you have an iPad and a cell phone, you can log into your cell phone, but if you want to then go on your iPad, you have to log out of your cell phone to get in. They also do have an internet person on board that can help you. But like I said, Maria and Anna have been on plenty of cruises that you could bring your device to them and they could show you what to do. Once you see it, you can get the hang of it, but internet is included in your cabin fare. And each night in your cabin, you'll get at Turndown Service, it's a daily newsletter. It's called The Currents. This is another thing that has got a lot of good information in it. So even if you're just sitting in bed right before you're about to go to bed, read what's for the next day. It tells you what port you're going into, what time you're going to be docking, what time you can get off the ship, what time you need to be back on the ship, and then it'll tell you like things that are happening throughout the day. If there's a lecture, if there is high tea, trivia, any of that stuff will be listed in there. They usually have a little blurb about the city you're going to, along with the weather. And emergency phone numbers are on there too for the ship. So if you want, it's usually about 4 pages long. You can take it with you in your backpack for the next day, just so you know if you need to be back on board, if you want to do something. Otherwise, take a screenshot. One thing that won't be in the currents is your personal events that we emailed out quite a while ago. But we will also hand this out on board. I don't know. It says Go Next Icelandic, and then it says Michigan State University events. I'll go over them here in a little bit, but we will also hand it out on board. Oceania for a dress code, it's called Country Club Casual, and what that means to them is no shorts and no flip-flops for the grand dining room and specialty dining. If you've been on Oceania before, they used to say no jeans. Now they do allow jeans as long as they're kind of like dress jeans, so dark. So no stonewashed, no holes or frays in them. So if they're dark, nice jeans, you will be able to wear them into the specialty and the grand dining room. The rest of the ship is casual. So wear what you'd like, Terrace Cafe, the Waves. You can wear almost anything in there. If you had a swimsuit on for some reason, you would have to have a cover up on, but that's about it. Everything else is pretty casual. Off the ship, definitely wear comfortable clothes, good walking shoes, depending on what kind of tours you guys are doing. You guys would know what to wear for those. And if you have questions, we can always research it for you also. Laundry for this ship is on deck 7. There's no rhyme or reason to when people do laundry. So if you think you need to do laundry, go ahead and walk down there, check it out. There is 4 washers and dryers in there. They do include the soap. It's included in the cost of your cruise, so feel free to use it. If you don't want to do laundry, they also do have a laundry service on board. The prices are hanging up on a hanger in your closet, so you can check that out also if you wanted to send laundry out. And if you have concierge or higher, that there is some laundry included with your cost for that. Now for this ship for the dining, specialty dining is Polo and Toscano. So hopefully everybody has made their reservations by now. If not, once you get on board, the very first day, there's usually somebody from restaurant services that has a desk in the areas and they'll be offering drink packages and stuff like that. But they also can tell you a little bit about reservations. So if you meet some friends, the Smiths, or you guys want to dine with each other, you can always talk to them about making changes. Or if you say, I'd rather have Italian twice and I don't want to eat in the steakhouse, anything can be checked out on board. There's a lot of movement with dining, same with shore excursions. So if one day something's not available, like for dining or shore excursions, it could open up. So always ask. It never hurts to ask. And if they can't do it that day, they might just tell you to come back the next day. Another place to chat with somebody about dining is in the Terrace Cafe. That's their, I hate even saying the word buffet because it's just so nice. The food is so good. It's one of my favorite places because it's just relaxing and you can get in and out and it's pretty quick. But there's a maitre d' in the mornings up there that can help look at the dining for you. So when you get on board the next morning at breakfast, if you have any questions, you can stop and talk to them. Let's see here. Shore excursions. I'm going to talk a little bit about those. The tickets for your shore excursions will be in your cabin. It'll be all the shore excursions for the entire week. So go ahead and look through the envelope, make sure that you have every tour that you guys are going on. And if there is 2 for one day, that might just mean that if you were on a wait list, the wait list has now opened up. And now you might have 2 for that day because they don't know what you want because they couldn't call us to ask. So they're going to have you pick which one you want, but then make sure you go to destination services and let them know which one to cancel so you're not charged for both of them. So with that, your tickets, just look through them. And then one thing that we ask you to do on your tickets, and this is for our busing for the shore excursions. If you can put MSU, you can put MS. Our program managers will know. They know what schools are on board. This means if you are on a tour with anybody else from Michigan State, you guys will be on the same bus together. And if nobody else from your university is on that shore excursion, you'll be with other Go Next people. And how this happens is you guys will meet in the Insignia Lounge on deck 5. And this information also is going to be on the events letter that we hand out on board. So if you forget, it's on deck 5. You'll meet there in the morning according to your ticket time. So if your ticket is, tells you to be down there at 8:10, then they will call your shore excursion. You'll then go get a bus. You'll hand them your ticket. You'll get a bus ticket. And then you might disembark the ship right then if the vendor outside is ready. If not, you'll take a seat and wait for them to call your bus number. And then you guys will get off the ship together. So that's for the shore excursions. Let me talk about your events a little bit. So again, you don't have to write this down. There's actually a lot. So since this is our Big Ten conference cruise, we have a lot of special things on board. So the first night is the welcome reception. So this is where you'll meet everybody in your group. You guys will have your own table, and this is where you will meet the program managers if you haven't already. They're there to tell you what they're there to do for you. They are like your onboard concierge, something different than if you booked a concierge level. I call them your onboard concierge. They're your Go Next concierge. They're there to do whatever you need. If you have questions, complaints, you need something, just ask them. They're there. If you don't ask, they don't know. Or if you don't tell them something's wrong, they don't know. They want to make sure everybody is happy. They want your experience to be wonderful. So definitely let them know if you have any questions or anything. So that first night, it's open bar, hot and cold canapes. And then the next evening on the 15th, Christine Brennan, she is our Go Next featured person on board. She will be on board and she will have 2 lectures, and she's also going to be doing a panel discussion. She's still working on it right now. Panel discussion for the ambassadors on board. So that'll be something you guys can go to also. So her lecture is from 5 to 6 on the 15th. And then on the 16th is the captain's reception. I'm not for sure what time it's at right now, but this will be listed in your currents once they make the decision. And then on the 17th, we're going to have a tailgate party. So everybody again is going to be in the same area. The first time I worked this cruise, I didn't know anything about Big Ten schools and the rivals and stuff. So I maybe put somebody next to the wrong somebody, and people are like, "You can't do that." So I'd have to look it up. But so with that being said, you guys are all going to be in one room, but you guys are going to rah rah. And then let's see here on the 20th, your host will have a lecture from 8 to 9 a.m. So, Land of Fire and Ice. So that sounds very interesting.
I won't
On
take any longer than 3 hours.
Let's see here. And then on the night of the 20th, if you guys plan on bringing school colors, this is a good day to wear your school colors. You guys will all meet at the bottom of the grand staircase. You'll have a flag, and then you'll take a picture with the flag. And then we bring you to the grand dining room, and you guys will all have dinner together. Tables will be in the same area. Obviously, we can't get everybody at the same table, but you'll be in the same area in the grand dining room. Another thing that they do on board, also has to be with the captain's permission, and we've not had it not happen yet, but so we ask if we can fly everybody's flag. So the day that we're able to fly the flags, he'll let us know, and then we will then let you guys know that we're flying the flags, so you guys can go and stand by the flags and take pictures. And then on the 22nd, this is your day at sea. It's a jam-packed day for you guys. Now, you don't have to go to everything. It's always, whatever you guys are interested in. But from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., Christine Brennan is going to be moderating the ambassador panel. So I'm not for sure what she's going to be talking about. I just talked to her today and she's working on it. She has everybody's bios. So it'll be a little bit of mixture, of every ambassador that we have. So I was going to tell you guys, let's see here. So some of the schools that are going to be on board for this, not every Big Ten school signed up, but I'll tell you the ones that did. Ohio State, Penn State, University of Michigan, Southern California, Illinois, Purdue, Indiana. So those are the ones that signed up. And so Indiana, Michigan State, Penn State, Purdue, Ohio State, and University of Michigan, they all also have ambassadors. So all of them, I'm sorry, did I just freeze? No? Okay. Yes? Can you hear me, you guys?
No,
Okay.
yeah, you're okay. You're okay.
I just froze a little bit. So all of these schools that have ambassadors will be part of this panel discussion. It is a pretty interesting thing. So I would suggest definitely going to watch it. And then at 2 o'clock, from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock that day, Christine is going to be putting on another lecture. And then from 3:30 to 4:30 that day, Penn State's, he is also going to lecture about glaciers in Iceland. And then that evening, we'll have a farewell reception for you guys in the lounge. Like I said, this is all on a piece of paper that we will hand out once you get on board. So now for disembarkation, a few days before you guys disembark, you're going to get a letter. It's going to ask you to reconfirm your flights. And what this does is it gets you your time to disembark the ship. So based on your flight times or based on what you're doing is going to be based on what time you guys need to meet in the lounge to disembark. The night before you guys all leave, you guys are going to put your suitcases outside the door. And so keep your carry-on with you, anything that you need for the next day, because they will take your luggage the night before, put it into a holding area for the next day. People do ask if they can keep their luggage. You can. You will be responsible for it the next day, though. And it is kind of clunky to carry around. So if you can get it down with them the night before, that'd be the best. So now you guys will get your tickets. They'll come back and they'll put them in your rooms, and it'll tell you what time to be to the lounge. You guys will they'll call your ticket 7. You guys will disembark the ship together, and then you're going to have to go down, and there'll be little areas for your tickets with your luggage. You guys are going to have to physically claim your luggage so we know it's yours. And then no matter what you're doing, if you're going in a taxi or if you're getting on the transfer back to the airport, the porters will help you with your luggage. We just need to know what luggage is yours so it gets on the ship and it's not just, or so it gets in your transfer and it's not just left behind. Let me just go here really quick. So for this trip, let's see here. Big tent amendment. Okay, so yeah, your welcome reception, panel, tailgates, farewell reception, and then you guys, we designed a little gift that you guys will be receiving on board also. So that'll be a surprise to be in your room. I think you should probably get it on the first day. The box just arrived, which always makes me nervous when we're shipping stuff to get through customs, but I just was advised that it did arrive. So that is what I have for the cruise. We can do questions now. If you guys have, yes?
Yeah, no, I was just curious, Emily. Thank you for all the information. But
Yeah.
I was just curious if you have a approximate idea of how many alums from the other Big Ten schools are going to be on the ship. There,
Boy, you know, I
in addition
usually,
to
I
our group.
usually, I usually pull a list for this, but right before this meeting, I was in a meeting. But let's see here. I would say, average. You guys all average about 15 per.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Ohio State has a little bit more, but yeah, you all are about the same standing at about 15 passengers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yes, Jack.
Emily, I was a late ad, and when I was trying to register for dinners, it just wouldn't go through. It didn't work. And I got an email that said, yeah, we're having problems, but it'll be fixed. So I haven't reserved any dinners. Can I do that the first day when I get on board? I have an 11:30 boarding time.
Yes, you should definitely check with them to make sure. Yes, right when you get on board. If you have an 11:30 boarding time, um, you will be one of the first ones on board, I believe. So yeah, definitely talk to somebody because right now, I believe, or I mean, you could try to call us. I mean, dining might be a little picked over for what we can see, but once you get on board, they do hold certain dining, for people that maybe have booked late or people that are in suites and stuff. So and just people that want to move around. So definitely check when you get on board and they will see what they can do.
And I was looking over the different shore excursions, but I forgot the website. I think it's your guest website we have or something. And what is that again?
So
So I
if you
have
go
my
to gonext.com,
okay.
so just gonext.com, and then up in the right-hand corner, there's a search bar. And if you just type in Icelandic or Iceland, this trip will pull up. And then go a little bit down into the page, and then there's a green bar with a bunch of items. Over on the
Okay.
right side, there will be if you touch the shore excursions, it'll bring you to there's a PDF of all the shore excursions.
Okay. I did set up like a personal account type thing, so I know it's out there, but I can't find that information now. So
Yeah, and
just have
if it's still open, like it wouldn't maybe hurt to call our 1-800 number to see if they can book anything today. Their cutoff is usually 14 days, but that's not saying they cut it off always at 14 days. So you could call our 1-800 number and see if we can still get in and we could try to book you something. Do you have that number?
yeah, that I have. It's just is that 623 or 855-623-2642?
Nope, so to call one of our agents, if you wanted to call somebody today to see if they could assist with shore excursions, if they're still open, you would want to call 1-800-842-9023.
Because when I was out there, I saw plenty of shorter type of simple tours, which is all I'm interested in. So
Yeah.
I didn't book anything. I thought I would have time to go back in, but I just haven't had time to get back in yet. So
Well, and you can
if
always add them on board too. So if there's nothing, I always say book in advance if there's something you need to see. If you're just want to get off the ship to see something, but doesn't really, you just want to go on a shore excursion, they will have shore excursions available on board. But if there's something you want to try to book in advance, I'd give us a call today and see if we can still add something.
okay.
Yes, and also, Jack, quite often people, once they get on board, they decide, oh, I don't think I want to do that excursion, and they might switch to something else. So something
Yeah.
once you get on board, may free up if it was at one point sold out.
Yeah, see, I
It happens
didn't know,
quite a bit.
I didn't know, Regina, about this credit that I have. When I got the paperwork from GoNext, that's where I saw this shipboard credit, and I called and they said, yeah, you go out and you book tours. And so that's where I right away started looking, but I didn't do anything with it yet. So um, I'm looking mostly at just the shorter, like a 1 or 2 hour tour of the town, the
Mhm.
simple stuff. And I figure between all these stops we're going to be making, that's I should be able to burn up that amenity credit.
Yeah, yeah. And it'll appear on the your account that will be on the TV. You'll be able to see that credit amount on there.
Okay, all right.
Can I add something? Um, Jack, when you say you set up an account, I'm wondering if you aren't referring to setting up an account with Oceana Cruise. And there's a
Yeah.
for excursions, and it'll explain each one, and you can purchase them from the Oceana site, not the Go Next site.
Well, I thought it was Go Next because when Emily mentioned about the green button, that seems like I recall something like that. So I set
So
up
you
I
go
set up
ahead.
the Michigan State account that Regina told us to. So I'm in that Michigan State group, and then I went into I'm pretty sure it's a Go Next account that I have, and then that's where I started learning all this stuff. I got so much overwhelmed at once that I just said, "Wow, I better come back to this," and I
Yeah,
just
it
haven't
is a
done it.
little confusing, and it actually would have been the Oceana account. There's
Yeah,
no accounts with Go Next. They
right.
can assist you with adding things if necessary, but more than likely, the account that you set up was on the Oceana website.
I have to
Yeah,
try
you
to
were
find it.
probably just on our website, lots of websites, looking at the shark excursion details. So, but yeah, give us a call instead of going online to book them. You can go online and book them, but we'd probably be, I mean, they do this every day, so they're pretty fast at it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jack, I'll go ahead and send you the PDF that has all the excursions on it. So that might make it a little easier than you trying to go out there and find it. But I'm happy to email that to you.
Yeah, I'll probably just do one per town because do that in the morning and then stay ashore and have lunch somewhere. And then the afternoons, I'm happy to get back on the ship.
Yep. Yeah, I see you. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
I'm all set for now, I think.
There we go. Okay. I have two questions actually. So my flight gets in really early the day that we disembark, and I already bought a transfer from you guys to the cruise ship. Can we drop our luggage and then go walk around town? Or once we drop, we have to get on the ship, number one? And is it walkable to town from the cruise port?
So let's see here. So for dropping you off, as long as there is a porter there, you will be able to drop off your luggage. So what time do you arrive at?
7:30 in the morning.
Yep, and then by the time you get there, after you get your luggage, yeah, there should be somebody there to grab your luggage, and then they'll store it for you, and then you guys can do your check-in, and then you guys can go into town. Hang on, let's see
As
here.
long as we have that world card, or we get that later.
I would get it now. You might as well do it. If there's somebody there checking in, I'd just get it out of the way. So then you don't have to wait in line, because if you're there that early, you'll be probably one of the earlier ones there.
Is it walkable
Let's
to town from the cruise
uh,
port?
that I'm not for sure. I'm looking up the address right now. Uh,
Um, Emily, I've been looking a little bit at that because I'm going to be getting in Sunday or Monday morning. Cruiseport is a little bit of a walk, but there is a city bus that Dr. Gottfried was talking about. It's bus number 16 that goes back and forth from the Cruiseport right into the middle of the city. So and from what I saw, they have senior rates for fares. It's like $2, $3 to ride the bus. And that's where I'm planning Tuesday morning to go from the city out to the cruise port on bus number 16. Um, so if that's any help to anybody, but yeah, it's a little bit of a walk out to the cruise port.
yes, yep, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just from what Jack said, yeah, I was looking at a map of Reykjavik, and it would be quite a trek to walk
Okay.
from the cruise terminal into the city. It would longer than I think you, yeah, not impossible, but if you only have part of a day to do it, I think it's too far to walk.
And then
Emily, oh, sorry, go ahead. I was
so
just
the last day, we're actually staying an extra day. And we're just gonna stay at the hotel that you guys use for your pre-thing. So to get a transfer from the cruise to there, do I do that through you or Oceana?
So we won't, since we don't have a tour at the
You
end of
won't
our
have
trips,
those then.
we won't
Okay.
have a transfer, no, but on board, the concierge can help you set up a
Set something like
taxi.
that up. Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
any other questions? Okay, if not, then we will and well, thank you, Emily. I should say thank you very much for all your information. And if you do have additional questions, just let me know and we'll make sure that we get those answered for you. Or you can just call Go Next directly and they can assist you very much.
Yes.
So, all right.
Perfect.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
Enjoy your
everybody.
cruise. It's going to be an amazing one. Thank you.
Yep. So typically what I like to do with these Zoom calls is allow everyone the opportunity to introduce themselves, say a little bit about their connection to Michigan State, what they're looking forward to on the trip. So I just kind of go around and I will call off people's names. And if you want to say a few words, it'd be wonderful. I'll start with Jack.
Well, I'm a late addition, but I did get out, Regina, on that group that you create or we created, and so I do have some information out there. And I've been to Iceland before, that's why I have a brief idea of how to get around a little bit. I was there about 6 years ago, and but I did want to go back because it was after COVID. We were somewhat restricted. So that's why I want to go back. And then, of course, the addition of the Faroe Islands and going with a group, I think. Yeah, I'm just this has all been such a rush the last couple of weeks. So that's the only issue I'm having is getting everything done on time.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. And then I see Teresa.
Hi, I'm Teresa Larson, and my husband and I are coming. This is our third or fourth trip with Michigan State doing travels. We did the last Big Ten one to Alaska, which was a lot of fun. So looking forward to doing a lot of outdoor activities. I know I have to totally change my packing now after this talk today. So thanks for letting us know about the clothing that we need to bring. That was helpful.
Good. Wonderful. Great. And then Linda.
Hi, everybody. This is my, I think, 6th or 7th tour with the Michigan State group. They're always fabulous. Sorry you're not going to be with us this time, Regina.
Yeah.
Have traveled around the world, not only with Michigan State, but I've never been to Iceland. So I'm very, very excited about this trip, excited to meet all of my Michigan State alumni people as well. I've lived in Florida for 15 years, but I'm a professor emeritus of Ferris State University. So lived up in the Big Rapids area for most of my adult life as I spent 30 years there. So looking forward to meeting all of you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Linda.
Bringing my Michigan clothes with me. It's 95 degrees here today.
Oh gosh. Wow. Okay. And I believe, is it Tom Pustella?
Pastula.
Pastula.
Yep. Myself and my wife Cindy, who's also an alumni, will be joining. This is our first one. We're coming on this one because 40 years ago this November we got married. Our honeymoon and our 10th anniversary were to Iceland, so this is kind of closing the circle. So
Nice.
it'll be nice to be there when you have like more than 4 hours of daylight, because when you go in mid-November, the sun rises about 10:30 and it's down by 3.
Oh boy.
So, but yeah, so this will be nice. We're looking forward to it. So
Wonderful. Thank you. And then Jim or James Cals?
It's Jim.
Yes.
My wife Don and I are both MSU alums. I'm a a professor emeritus from MSU, myself. We live in Richmond, Virginia. Never been to Iceland. It's one of those places I really want to see. I'm particularly interested in all of the natural landscapes, the geothermals, waterfalls, etc. This will be our second MSU tour. The first one was also an Oceania cruise in the Mediterranean. So we're looking forward to the trip.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Okay. And as Jack mentioned, the Bright Crowd, I failed to mention it earlier, but we do have an online directory in which you can add your information if you haven't. And it's a good way for you to learn a little bit about your fellow travelers prior to the trip. So, and then also too, it has a place where you can add photos. So if you take some wonderful photos during the cruise, you can upload those while you're actually traveling or when you return, so you can share them with other people. So great. And so Mike, do you have any parting words at all that you'd like to say?
Just real quickly, I'm trying to count, how many times I've been to Iceland. So obviously I love the place because I'm going back again. I think I did at least 10 study abroad programs, and this will be my 4th program with alumni of one type or another. So yeah, it's exciting to be back. And again, for myself personally, especially excited that it includes the Faroe Islands, which I've always wanted to see. And I look forward to meeting everybody on Tuesday and having a great time. So we'll see you there on board.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge about Iceland. And I wish all of you a wonderful time. I'm sorry that I'm not joining you this time, but I'm sure you'll have a wonderful time. So take care. And again, if you have questions, let us know. Okay?
Regina,
all right.
one more thing.
Yeah.
I was on
Yeah.
YouTube all yesterday afternoon. There is a YouTube on the ship we're on, the Insignia. I thought I'd been on all of the Oceania ships, but it turns out I've not been on the Insignia. And it gives you a whole walking tour of the ship, if that's of interest to one.
Oh, cool. Wonderful. Yeah, I'll look for that and share that when I send out the video.
Okay.
Link. Okay?
Great. Thank you.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you. And go green, everybody.
Go
Bye,
white.
everyone.
Oh, why?
Bye.
Bye.